guess we need to turn off the pronunciation of the words. Oh, don't even try it. Hoeferle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can do that.
It sounds like a fluffy dessert.
I never heard that. I heard hopefully a lot. So what's your last name? Hopefully? Sure.
Ladies, we are going to go ahead and get started. So if you need to freshen your drink, or the drinks are over in the corner, if you don't yet have your lunch, please grab a lunch and find a chair so we can go ahead and get started. So welcome all of you beautiful women and handsome men to this event today. We have with us the CEO and best-selling author, Brigitta Hoeferle. She didn't think I'd be able to say that, did I? So Brigitta moved to the United States from Germany 14 years ago with a business plan in her back pocket to start a Montessori school. And she had no plan B. So she started that Montessori school, and in 2013 sold 70% of the shares of that school and was recruited heavily by the same company you probably all heard of, Tony Robbins. So the same company that he is associated with recruited her, and she was their top female speaker. So please join me in welcoming Brigitta.
Thanks, Jennifer. Well, thanks guys for coming, and you know, I feel kind of silly with this jacket up here, but when I left Atlanta this morning, it was not as warm as it is here, and I love being here. I mean, and I'm flying back tonight, but thank you so much for a warm welcome. Thanks, Jennifer, for inviting me. You know, when Jennifer and I talked on the phone several months ago, we had this Montessori immediate connection. We just liked each other from the moment we met on the phone, and I've never met her in person. It was a mere introduction, and that's really what I'm getting into today. And Jennifer, remind me, I have what, 45 minutes?
Yes.
Will you just give me like a little sign?
Yeah, I'll hold up mine.
Okay, so you all were invited either in person or with a postcard, and there was one term on there, and that was the term biology, spelled with a B-U-Y-O-L-O-G-Y. So I'd like just to know really quick, and this is, I'm just going to throw this up on here. What do you think biology is, or what would you like to get out of this lesson in biology today? Shout at me.
Why people do business with us? Or where they don't. Yeah.
So there's actually triggers and tripwires. What else? Don't be shy.
Improving
Improving what?
our words.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What else?
When we don't want people to buy from us.
What you do when you don't want people to buy from you? So kind of breaking rapport? Mm-hmm. Good, that's a good question. Anyone else have a last one?
How do you keep them buying from you after you get them?
Oh, okay, so keep them coming back.
Yes.
And you've heard this over and over and over before. People only buy from you if they what?
Trust you.
And like you. They will only buy from you if they trust you and they like you. So this is actually really easy. If you don't want them to buy from you, you just got to break rapport. You got to do something that they don't trust or like you anymore. Which could be, that's, you know, be aware, word gets out there. That can also be something as a negative review. So you really want to be very, very careful. Biology really is how the words that we use, improving our words, but really, what are we listening for? People always listen in order to respond something witty or something, knowledgeable, or to put out their own agenda, but are we really listening to relate to those people and then talk back in their terms, in their language, and I'm going to get into that here in a little bit, that they understand you. And by understand, I truly mean understand on a deeper level. I'm throwing some of these slides on here, and I'm not going to read slides to you because I'm a big hater of death by PowerPoint. I mean, that I brought a PowerPoint is already one thing. But I'm just throwing some things on here, and for you to take notes, for you to also listen to me. People are very visual, so I'm going to throw some stuff on here. Robert Kiyosaki said the ability to sell is the #1 skill in business. The ability to sell is the #1 skill in business, and we're all in sales. I had a meeting with a potential client of mine not long ago, and she's a CEO of a nonprofit, and she says, "Oh no, I'm not in sales." I said, "Honey, I hate to break it to you. We're all in sales. Are you a mom?" She says, "Yes, I have a beautiful," and she showed me pictures of her beautiful son. He's 3. I said, "You're in sales." "Oh my God, are you in sales? You're selling him an idea every minute of your life." And that's when we had, you see, I'm building rapport. I'm building trust to that person. We've all been told in order to get a yes, we need to get what? Yeah, a no, over and over and over. Right? It's the whole sales has been a numbers game. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. It's a lie. Because in order to get a yes, you need to get what? A yes. You need to get more yeses. In order to get more yeses, you need to get more yeses and not more no's. So it's really, how are we spinning our words? And how are we understanding and listening on a deeper level? And I'm here to share a little secret with you today. How many of you seen the Da Vinci Code?
Yes.
Movie Da Vinci Code? You've probably seen this little cryptex here in the Da Vinci Code. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I actually have the real, well, not the real, it's like a replica of the Da Vinci Code. And when I do presentations, I carry them with me, but I usually put them in my luggage that that's not going with me through security, because one time I took it through security and they're about to arrest me for this thing. So I decided to not bring it today because I flew in this morning. I'm flying back tonight. I traveled very light. So here's the secret. It's not a numbers game. It's a people's game. Brian Tracy said, all business is a people's game. And when we can really master the trusting and the liking and listening to people on their level, and let me ask you real quick when I say on their level, how many of you have met a person, and I'll take Jennifer for my example here in the room, that you instantly like, that you instantly hit it off with, that you're like, oh my gosh, we're soul sisters, we're soul brothers, right? We all had that. We also had people where you're like, I can try whatever I want, and I can say all the right things, and it still doesn't land, and that person just does not understand me. Have we had that too? Yeah, I know I have, and I tried everything, right? So I'm going to give you a few little secrets here. As Jennifer shared earlier, I'm invited to speak all around the world, and I'm so excited that I'm here with you because we were introduced, and I was invited, and I said, yes, are you kidding me? Coming to a place where there are palm trees? Hello. I shared stages with people like John Maxwell, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and this is actually my great friend. This is Sherry Tree right here with the bank. She's right beside Sir Richard Branson. I have not had the privilege to meet him yet. So Albert Einstein says, any fool can complicate things. It really takes a genius to simplify it, right? So we have taken with the methodology in biology and broken it down, because there was the question of, okay, so if I can hit it off with some people and I say the exact same thing to someone else and it just doesn't land, how come? What am I doing wrong? And we kind of dissected it. So the science is, the whole methodology is B.A.N.K, B.A.N.K, and I'm going to tell you what it stands for here in a second. But it goes way back to Hippocrates, father of medicine, who put humanity in 4 temperaments, right? And that is based in psychology. We know some of these assessments. How many of you have done like a DISC or a Myers-Briggs or anything like that? To this day, I'm still trying to understand my DISC assessment. So the biology method is exactly the same as Myers-Briggs and DISC and the colors and the animals and the gems and you know what all's out there, but it's completely different because it is based in decision making, why people do business with us, and not in psychology, who am I? There's a big, big difference. Do you see that? So there really was a missing link, and we looked at it. The missing link was, if I know who I am, but I don't know who I'm talking to, then how can I find out how to do business with them, or why are they not doing business with us? It's not about who. Me. I need to understand who I am, but it's really in a sales conversation about the other person that I'm talking to, right? So the missing link really was, okay, if there are 4 personality types, like Hippocrates says, and say I go with my personality type, which is an action, and I can speak really good and very fluent in my action language within the English language, or the German language, I'm leaving out the other 3. And that's really where cracking the code comes in, and this is where the Da Vinci, the little cryptex comes in. How many of you remember the whole story around the cryptex? How many of you don't remember this at all? Okay, so this is the cryptex in the Da Vinci Code, and there is a secret message inside. And in order to get to the secret message that will bring you to the Holy Grail, one has to crack the code. And in order to crack the code, you got to go through all of these steps, right? That's in the Da Vinci Code. If you fail to have the correct code, there's a little veil of vinegar inside, and the little veil of vinegar gets broken, and it just completely dissolves and destroys the message to the Holy Grail. How many of you understand that in here, if you do not have the correct language, that you will never get to the Holy Grail of your customer, of your client? Tony Robbins says, let your prospect determine your presentation. Now, what does that really mean? It really goes back to what I said earlier. If I only speak action, I'm leaving out the knowledge presentation, the blueprint presentation, and the nurturing presentation. So what does that mean? If I speak in my dominant code, I cannot, and I have not learned to speak the other codes. I only give my presentation, like in this room, you are all 4 codes. I am all 4 codes, but we all have a dominant code. So I might have some people that are high knowledge, I have some people that are high blueprint, some people that are high nurturing, some people that are high action. So knowing which of presentation to choose is the key. Now, should I always have 4 presentations in place, or should I have it weaved in, like power scripted, if you will? Yeah, that's really what charismatic speakers are all about, that they can speak all 4 languages in one presentation. But do you understand that it's not just one presentation? It really, if you're, and we're going to go through some of the values of each personality type, but do you understand that if I only speak in one language, I'm really spoon feeding my competition on a rate to 1 to 4? Do you understand? That's a major ouch. If I only present in my own style, in my own language, I am leaving out the other 3, which means I'm only presenting to 25% in the room, and I'm leaving out 75%. You might remember the slide that I had on very, very early in my presentation that says increase your sales up to 300%. That's what that means. I don't ever say that. I only leave the slide up at the beginning of our presentation because 300%, that's a lot, right? And some people might say, and they have their guard go up, well, 300%, how are you supposed to do that? I don't think that's possible. But it is, because this is where the 300% comes in. Let's do a little mathematical equation, shall we? So everyone has something to write on and write with. I would like for you to write in your income, say, of 2017. How many of you done your taxes yet?
Working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it too. I'm glad. So put in, I just put a random number in here. So put in your current income right here. And then you're going to multiply it times 3. Do you see where the times 3 comes from? From the other three personality types. And then go ahead and add that up. Y'all probably have a calculator, or you are in that business, you could probably do it in your head. I choose to.
Take a calculator.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that some of you, most of you, maybe do, 20 more years? Some of you less. I hear, So if you do less, I love that I'm with you. 20 years, are you kidding me? So go ahead, just for the sake of the equation here, I put in 20 years. So these are the remaining numbers of years in sales. And if I fail to talk in the other 3 languages, this is the number I'm leaving on the table. Ouch. Major ouch. And I don't take it to the bank if I fail to learn. Because Benjamin Franklin said it pretty in our faces: if you think the cost of education is expensive, then try the cost of ignorance. And sometimes it's not even ignorance. Sometimes it's just, I don't know. And that's why I'm here. So you now do know that you can adapt it. So let's go into the system. The system is B.A.N.K, and like I said, B stands for blueprint. The blueprint kind of personality types in our biology methodology are the ones that are in the box. They feel very comfortable in the box. Think of, has anyone traveled to Germany? Think of the Germans as a people. They're all blueprint. I'm the exception, that's why I got the hell out of there. I didn't fit in. But they're in the box, they love the box because it's comfortable and it's risk averse. And let me just tell you that, there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, right? I'm only coming from my experience right now. But the blueprints love being in the box. And these are their values: stability and structure and systems. They love to plan and have processes. They thrive on predictability and responsibility. Duty and rules and credentials and titles and tradition are highly, highly valued by the blueprints. So when we know that this is what the blueprint personality drives, I can now adapt my emails. I can adapt my copy on my website. I can adapt my copy in my flyers. I can adapt my communication in when I meet with a blueprint. I can adapt my listening. When someone tells me, oh, no, I won't do that. I don't have a budget for that, and it's really, it's too risky for me. Like, I was interviewed by someone, and she said, so what was your plan B when you moved to the United States? That was risky to take that bold move. I knew exactly who I was talking to and where she was coming from. I said, yeah, I had no plan B. I'm a freaking action. There's no plan B. Ready, fire, aim, right? But I knew exactly and how to respond to her, right? If I would have gone into a sales conversation with her, I would have known exactly how to talk to her and what she values. Action. Ready, fire, aim. Oh wait, let me go back. Where's my little box? There is no box for the actions. They're like, screw the box. Don't put me in a box. All right, so they're ready, hot. They're like Red Bull. They make their coffee in the morning, not with water, but with Red Bull. Okay, and they value freedom and flexibility and spontaneity, action, opportunity, excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. I'm trying to think of story, and I have so many action stories. When a blueprint and an action come together, it is a very iffy situation, because what a blueprint values and likes, an action usually dislikes.
Can you go back to that? I didn't write all those down on the blueprint. Yeah, thank you.
And you can take a picture of it too if you choose to.
Good action.
Shows her age.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. I meant to say that. Turn your phones off. But so far, once I've gone, come on. You need more time?
I'm good.
Okay. So here are the action values again. So do you see of how quickly you can break rapport if you are familiar with some of the values? It just takes one thing that you have to say and you break rapport, and the deal falls through. And you can actually do it where it's not coming back to haunt you. Nurturers. They recycle the box and make something fun out of it. Nurturers value relationships and authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, and contribution. Nurturers and actions are highly emotional personality types. Blueprints, and what I'm about to talk next, knowledge, are not. Blueprints and knowledge live in their left brain usually, and nurturers and action live in their right brain. Now, and I'll talk about this here in a little bit, we are all, like I said before, we are all four types within us. We have one dominant, or maybe we have two that live side by side. You need more time on this? And the knowledge. The knowledge people are the ones that engineered the box. They did all the measurements, and they actually wrote a handbook and wrote some fine print around it. So those are my knowledge people. And they value learning and intelligence and logic and self-mastery and technology and research and development and science and universal truths and expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. Again, when a knowledge and an action come together, the action wants the bottom line, and the knowledge wants the big picture. Woo! Suddenly you have two people on both sides of the spectrum. Learning to understand not what am I, and you need to understand me, but who am I, and what do I need to adapt my listening skills to, and then my communication skills, in order to talk to you in a way that you understand me. Think of it as action is my English, and knowledge is my German. And then nurturer is Norwegian for sake of a better language. And blueprint is Korean. If I speak to you in English, which is my action, and you're not action, you do not understand me. And that's what we get in business over and over and over, where people just don't, we hear you because you're speaking the same language, but we don't hear you. We don't truly, on a deeper level, understand what's driving you. Why are you making a decision? Why do people do business with us? Because they like and trust you. How do they like and trust you? Because they feel understood. They feel that you truly, on a deeper level, relate to you. That's why. And why do people not buy from us? It's because they don't feel understood. How often have you received, I'll give you a really good example. This is from a friend of mine. And she was actually, she's no longer anymore, but she was in financial advising. And she had this high-end client, and there was several millions on the line, and I don't know the whole back-end story. However, they were going back and forth, and finally the client called her one day and said, okay, I'm ready to sign up with you. I'm ready to do business with you. And she's like, awesome, yes. So she printed out, this whole stack of papers that she needed to bring along, and they were meeting at a Starbucks, and she brought this whole stack along. Well, she was 10 minutes late. She's a high action. And the person that she did business with, now in retrospective, she knows, he was a blueprint. And they sat down, she came in, she apologized, they sat down, and she was about to pull out all of her papers for him to sign. He says, wait, before we get started, I'm not doing business with you. And she's like, wait a minute, you called me, we had an understanding. What do you mean we're not doing business together? And he says, look, you were 10 minutes late. If you do not honor my time now that I'm not even your client yet, how do you think I feel about how you're going to honor my time and honor my money down the road? Did that hurt? Big time. She not just only lost that business, but she lost any other business that she could have done with that person down the road. And she lost all of that person's referrals. That's major ouch. Would she have known what she knows now, that would have not happened. So, what's your code? How many of you related to one or the other of these values? What was that? Several, yeah. Yeah, like I said, there are 24 of them. There's a combination. When you take all of the combinations, there are 24 of them. So, boils down that sales actually is a numbers game, because there's only a 4% chance if we don't know. I'd love to bring someone up, and I'd like to play a game. Who wants to come up and be a volunteer for me? Yeah, come on up. Oh, wait a minute. I have. What's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Brigitta, good to meet you. So Jennifer, I would like for you, if you would do me this favor, read the values on these cards one by one, and then sort them in order to the one that resonates most with you on top, to the one that resonates least with you on the bottom. That will help me to serve you better,
Okay.
and it will both save us some time. Is that good?
Okay.
Okay. Just take your time.
This is so hard because there's a lot here in all of them. In order with all four, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Give it up for Jennifer. Thank you so much. So, The script that I used, touched all 4. Will you do me a favor? Will you sort the cards? Who likes to sort? Who likes to put things in order? The blueprints. Yeah. Yeah. That'll help me to serve you better. The nurturers. Oh, I'm sorry, sort the information. Sorting information is, the information is knowledge. That will help me to serve you better. And it'll save us both some time. Who likes to save time? The actions are like, let's go. It didn't even take a minute. Although Jennifer said, and I appreciate that you said that, man, this is so hard. That also showed me immediately that you were a knowledge. So you're a high nurturer knowledge, because knowledge people, they want to, you know, they go, which one is it? Which one is it? And it tells you so much. When I first saw these cards, I went, yep, this. Okay, good. We're good. No kidding, that's really what happened. But just by the way someone sorts it, as you go through, you know, educating yourself on the methodology, you will get all kinds of cues. You get cues from people how they dress, or what kind of watch they wear, or are they wearing, you know, women, are they wearing real pearls, or are they wearing, how do you say, costume jewelry? Is that how you say? So there are a lot of hints that you can see as you go through the training. So thank you for that, Jennifer. Now, with Jennifer, because I'm a high action, when Jennifer and I meet, this would be the first thing that I do, or I even would send her a link, and I'll show you this here in a second, before our meeting, so I can know what kind of personality type she is before we even go and have a meeting, okay? So, nurture knowledge. Remember I told you actions and knowledge clash. Their likes are their dislikes. So I need to what? Totally tone down my action when I go into conversation with her, and bring all of the information and the fine print and the nitty-gritty. And at the same time, I really need to make sure that she feels nurtured, that she feels in great hands, that she feels that she's going to belong to something much, much greater, okay? And you can, in order to get more detailed around that, you can ask some form questions. Are you guys familiar with form questions? Yeah? Family, occupation, recreation, and forgot the M. So you can ask open-ended questions around that.
What were those words again?
Form, family, occupation, recreation. What's the M for? Yeah, memory, thanks. I'll think of it. Probably on the time I walk out, I'll think of it. And that's when also people like to talk about one person the most. What do they like to talk about? Themselves. So I just gave Jennifer the opportunity to talk about herself. I am showing genuine interest, and I'm saying it again, genuine interest in her. And everyone wants to be heard. We go, especially today, in today's business, we're in and out. We're in and out getting something to eat. We're in and out to the bank. We're in and out here. We're in and out there. We're in and out of our meetings, and we don't take enough time to connect, and that's when people do not do business with us. Especially with nurturers, if we do not take the time to connect, it falls through. Jennifer.
So more than just like people doing business with us, Terry and I work for the same firm, and she's been here 24 years, I've been here 14 years, and for the first 10 years that I worked here, she's a nurturer and I'm an action, so we weren't friends.
Yeah. Were you butting heads?
Well, I wouldn't say we were butting heads, but she probably inside of her head.
We just weren't warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. You can see it. You see her response. We weren't
Warm and fuzzy.
Still,
That's a
and
true
so
nurture.
We spent an evening together. There were 3 ladies that work for this company. Spent an evening together, and she found out that I'm just like her husband. right?
Yeah.
Make all the mistakes he makes, does all the stupid stuff that he does, and she's just like my husband, right? And so then we better appreciated each other and understood each other.
And you started liking each other.
Right, but we went 10 years with I'm an action and she's a
Nurturer.
and was like, oh, we don't want to be the same as together, you know?
How many of you do have 10 years time to close a freaking sale? I don't, you know? 10 years? Are you kidding me? But that's exactly what goes back to the triggers and the tripwires. Know what triggers a nurturer and also know what tripwires a nurturer. No, and for all of the others as well. I'll tell you a quick story. How much time do I have? Am I good?
You're good. You got
Okay.
10 minutes.
Okay. A friend of mine, Daran, he is like this high knowledge. He works for, well, he has his own company now, but he does internet solutions and all this high-tech stuff. I don't know, whatever it's called. Well, he went in for $1 billion contract with this highfalutin firm, and he presented to that company before, and they brought him back. So he's back for the second proposal that he's doing, and he's created this entire presentation thinking, well, it's going to be the same crowd, right? High knowledge, because that's what he worked with before. So his whole presentation was all high knowledge. He's like completely geeking out, right? And he came in the room, and turns out it was the board of directors, and they were sitting around the boardroom table, and he pulled out his cards, because he had this instinct of, I don't know if that's the right presentation that I'm about to present, and I really want to have this contract. He pulls out the cards, and he asks everyone around the table to crack their code. And they all did, and they loved it. It almost became a competition around the boardroom table. Oh, what are you? Oh, no way. And turns out the majority in the room were nurturers. They were all men, and the majority was nurturers. So what did he do? He closed his laptop, he dropped into his heart, and he started speaking from the heart, and he got the contract. If he would have, what I said earlier, Tony Robbins, let your prospect determine your presentation. It's not what you think. We all assume. If you've never read the 4 Agreements, one of the 4 Agreements, great book by Don Miguel Ruiz. Don't ever assume. That's one of the 4 Agreements. Don't ever assume. And now you have a very, very easy way of cracking someone's code and now knowing how to respond to them. So, is there anything else I wanted to say with that?
Can I mention, sometimes when you were mentioning the family occupation, a lot of my friends and I would we talk about our activities. We like to travel and stuff like that. So, where you've been, and so just living here, you go to the beach, or I know. So anyway, that's the other thing that I think is what I do. I like to talk about the activities and traveling and stuff. So.
Yeah, good. And do you have success with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm not talking, we go to a lot of networking. We do a lot of networking. And, it's, I just go in, I want to meet the people first.
Yeah.
And I just was told, don't make it, just don't hand out your business card to everybody. They're going to go home and toss it.
Yeah.
I got to stack this much.
Yeah.
I only look at it once.
Yeah.
I only pick out the ones I really want,
Here.
So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Here's what I do. When I go to networking events, people ask me what I do. These are the cards that I pull out. And I say, rather than me telling you what I do, why don't I just show you? And I've taken complete Chamber of Commerce coffees hostage because everyone's like, ooh, what's that? I want to do that. Can I do that? So now I get their business cards and I put their code on their business card. So when I follow up with them, I send them a postcard or an email. I can now adapt it in their words, what they value, not what I think they need to hear.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So since you're schooled in all of this and do it quite often, you can probably do it in 90 seconds or less, but is there something specific types of questions that we can ask to do it in 90 seconds?
No, this is just 90 seconds. This is just what I did with Jennifer. That's the 90 seconds, right? And then you can have follow-up conversations. Then you go into being more authentic. Once you know, now that I know that Jennifer's a high nurturer and a high knowledge, I first of all, Jennifer, was your action was last, right? Yeah. I first of all know, do not, Brigitta, whatever you're doing, do not bring out that action. Because that's really the tripwire. That really brings out the trip, you know? So it's necessary to know all four so you know exactly in which codes, the dominant code would be nurture and then knowledge to talk to, but really, what to absolutely avoid, right? Like this is the red card, literally. So this is the 90 seconds. The B.A.N.K methodology is the only methodology in the world scientifically validated to predict that decision making in 90 seconds or less, okay? So that's the 90 seconds, the cards. Did that answer your question?
Well, no, I'm still trying to figure out what I can do, because I'm not gonna hand clients those cards, or prospects, because I'm talking to them on the phone. So
Yep.
they're gonna be right for me.
Right?
Cards to hand them, so what is the simple solution, like?
Well, thank you for that, and let me get into that, okay? Give me that, because that's my next slide. So, how many of you would like to have these value cards? So I'm going to have a limited opportunity here. I brought a whole stack. I hope I brought enough, although I'm pretty sure I brought enough. They're usually $100, and I'm going to make them $20 for you today. You can buy as many as you want, and I'm going to have a little time. Oh, wait, go back. I'm going to have a minute, and you'll have a minute to come up here. They're $20. You'll have to pay them in cash. If you don't have cash, there's an ATM outside. You can have them. You can buy several to hand them out to your team. My kids have one in each of their backpacks, and they have a great time cracking all their friends' codes. So this is the time now. I'm going to start this clock. So 1 minute, $20, and then just come up here and see me. Thank you. Slow them down. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's funny, I've had many of the tests.
Thank
I was in management before I went into sales.
3 people just left out the ATM.
you. Okay, we'll wait.
I'm purple.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you were saying.
How balanced on all of them, which I think makes you successful and appreciate other people, which is
Thank you. So which one did you like best of all of the
Well,
assessments?
I'm an engineer by trade, so
So are you a high knowledge?
I am high knowledge, but I'm action. It's make it happen. So I'm
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And so
it's really crazy.
that's great. Thank you
And
for
I
that.
ran plants.
Yeah. So someone that is an A and a K, an action and a knowledge, you can find yourself going, going on the gas pedal, going on the brake, going on the gas pedal, going on the brake, going, should I not? Should I not? What am I doing? And you constantly have this internal dialogue of this or that, this or that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Yeah.
When I sometimes go into these networking or go into it, you get this feeling of the room,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh gosh, what kind of room is this today? I mean,
Yeah.
People are, sometimes they're very action, and everybody's like going, off the walls, and sometimes they're like,
Yeah.
well, you've really got this roller coaster going on. So,
Yeah, I do.
so you try to be yourself then?
You always, Oh, thank you for that. That's actually a really good question. Are you trying to be yourself? You always try to be yourself. You always are yourself. I am always myself. I am not putting a knowledge Brigitta on. I have learned over the years to speak the language. Like I have learned over the years to speak English. Because quite frankly, if I go to the United States and I talk like this, no one will really take me, serious. You understand? I would have not been able to stand on any stage if I would have talked in a gnarly German way, right? Who wants to listen to that? It's funny in the first, it's I'm Hans and I'm Franz and we're here to pump you up.
Not German.
Huh?
I said not German, my family's German.
Yeah. So it's really you making an effort. It's respectful to make an effort to learn the languages and the triggers and tripwires of others. It's just simple respect. It's like going back to my Montessori school. Me knowing what a child really needs and not what I as a teacher perhaps think they need, but listening to them and their needs on their level will really make a difference. Can you imagine what this does in schools? Imagine what it will do in your business and you really closing better and more deals. Hello, 300%. And if you only do 30%, would that be nice? Okay, I want to look here. Let's see what else I have here. Oh, so Tracy, right?
Jerry.
Huh?
Oh, Jerry.
Terry, sorry. So there are the cards, and then there's the bank pass, which will allow you to send your link to your client beforehand, and they can then crack their code simply by drag and drop. They can crack their code, submit it to you. They're getting a report that says, hello, Jennifer, thank you for cracking your code. Your code is yada, 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 yada. And this is what it means. It is not a super high-tech report where you go, huh? It's very simple. I get a report that says, hey, Jennifer just cracked her code, and this is her code, and this is how you communicate with her. Now I don't even have to go into guesswork of how I'm going to write an email to her. Okay, I already now know in that report what are the triggers and the tripwires to talk to her or not talk to her. So the bank pass is, did you need, how many? One. Look, I got one left. That's so awesome. So again, it takes the guesswork out. Remember, you shouldn't assume. And you now know all of your written and your spoken communication with that person. I have not had one person, and I have many, 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 many codes cracked in my dashboard. They're all in my virtual office. They're all going to be accumulated, and you can generate reports of all of the action people that you have that cracked their code and all of the blueprints. You can, write email campaigns only in blueprint, email campaigns only in action, email campaigns only in knowledge, and attach all of the fine print and the research and the data and the white paper and whatnot. So I have not had one person that has refused to crack their code. My daughter at the beginning. And I'm like, come on, just crack your code. I got you figured out already anyway. And she's like, okay. But everyone loves to talk about whom? Themselves. It's fun. Only if you make it awkward, then it becomes awkward. If you're not confident about, what you will do with that information, one.
What's the nice thing you really take of the sign?
I'm sorry. There you go. Last one. Yeah. So there's the technology of the bank cards, and it's called Bank Pass, and you can do that by a month to month. It's $99. You get the entire virtual training with it. It's like 80+ hours of really digging deeper into What are the tripwires of knowledge? What are the dislikes and likes of a blueprint? It goes all into that. It goes into power scripting. It goes into speed coding. It goes into the whole fundamentals of what the B.A.N.K methodology is and what biology really means. And if you're up for it, I would love to come down to a whole day at one time if we get a good group together. I'm doing one next week in Atlanta for a full day. We usually do it for a ticket for $1,997, $1,997, and for a group that has already done something with me, I do it for $497. So if we get a good group together, I'd love to do it and give you more, and we'll do it very hands-on. Can you guys see that having some training with me could be fun? Maybe. That's what actions do. So why B.A.N.K? Les Brown said it really nice. B.A.N.K is a game changer because it can dramatically increase your income. And he doesn't say that lightly. Les is, I don't know, how many of you are familiar with Les Brown? He's not well. He's a motivational speaker. He says it's the little C. He's got cancer. Spoken on many, many stages with him, and he's just an incredible person. Him, Tony, Robert Kiyosaki, they're all in the same camp. But he's dear and near to my heart. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to stick around, and back to Jennifer. Oh, and I have something for Jennifer. This is the Why They Buy book. Read it, pass it on, keep it, whatever you want to do.
Thank you. That's awesome.
I want to make sure that, did we go through all of these? Keep them coming. Trust and like.
Thank you so much. Let's give her another round of applause. So 2 things before I let you get on with your day today. First is in front of all of you there is a flyer. Edward Jones sponsored this event. And Edward Jones is looking to grow in our community, and here's why. We know that there are 300,000 families in Southwest Florida, in Charlotte County, Lee County, Collier County, who need financial advisors. We currently serve almost 14,000 of those families. We know that there are more families who need to be served by what we do, financial planning. If you or someone you know would like to hear about the opportunity to work for Edward Jones as a financial advisor, will the Edward Jones financial advisors in the room stand up? So if you, thank you so much. If you or someone you know would like to hear about the opportunity to work for Edward Jones, this is an invitation to a dinner at the veranda on March 1st to hear about the opportunity to work for Edward Jones. So if it's not something you're interested in, don't come, because we're going to talk about what it's like to work for Edward Jones. But if you know somebody, either in sales or financial services or insurance or the mortgage industry or banking, or a recent college graduate that's trying to find their way, right? If you know of someone who could benefit by hearing about what it's like to work for Edward Jones as an advisor, please give them this flyer. I'll hand out my business cards on your way out. You can take, most everybody's sitting by an advisor, so take the card of an advisor you're sitting by, and they can, we have dinners in Naples, we have dinners in Bonita, so no matter where, we have dinners in Cape Coral, no matter where the people are at that would like to hear about the opportunity, we'll invite them to a really nice dinner and explain the opportunity to see if it's a good fit for them. So my ask is that you put this in someone's hand, and if anybody in the room today, this is a special thing I didn't even plan, but you gave me this book, so I'm excited. If anybody in the room today knows someone who might be a really good fit that I could invite to March 1st, and you're willing to give me that person's name and phone number, I'm willing to give you this book.
Read it first, though.
I'll buy another one. I'll buy another one.
She does buy this book.
Anybody know anybody? Anybody come to your mind? You got a person's name and number?
Well, I got an event that you want
Okay.
Pass these out.
Anybody have a name and number? Somebody that you know would benefit by hearing about the opportunity? No? Okay, I'm gonna read the book.
And if anyone wants to get the book, buytheybuy.com.
Gotcha.
Yeah, buytheybuy.com.
Buytheybuy.com. Thank you all for coming. We do this 3 or 4 times a year here in Fort Myers. I know that Carrie Coates and Charmaine are doing it a lot more often in Naples, doing these women's events. So make sure that you give people your email address. Yes, ma'am.
So I did send this to someone, but I want to give her more details. You pay a salary for the first
4 years.
Oh, 4 years.
Yeah, so at Edward Jones, a financial advisor has a declining salary for the first 4 years. If you have to get out of here and run back to work, don't sit and listen. But Edward Jones offers a declining salary for the first 4 years. That might sound negative, a declining salary, right? But the people are compensated in 2 or 3 other ways in addition to that, and those ways actually increase over the first 4 years. So, but yes, there is a salary for the first 4 years, and then there's no salary because many people, we're finding 60 to 80% of clients are choosing fee-based business, and so there's just general income that comes with that. Oh, great.
And if you'd like to stay in touch, I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. If you'd like to stay in touch, be on my mailing list, or if you'd like to know more about the B.A.N.K, please sign up.
Let's go ahead and pass that around.
Yeah, okay.
Pass that around. There are a couple of them, so I can do it by row.
Yeah, I don't think I did anything on here.
So here, do the top 4, and then put it on the second row and pass it around.
Brigitta,
Yeah.
Yes.
what was the wording you used when you asked Jennifer to put these in order? The cards.
Do me a favor, read the information. So do me a favor, read the information, and then sort them in order. The ones that resonate most, the ones that resonate least. That will help me to serve you, and it'll both save us time. Thank you.
So the different speakers that we've had come to these events in the last 5 years, we've had a person who owns an organizing company that came and spoke to us about how to be more organized. We've had a speaker come and speak to us about the happy secret to better work. We've had from Image Matters, Terry, what is her name from that? Christine Sherlock has talked to us about image. She brought jackets and purses and taught us what's the right jacket for us and what's the, don't look at me because I don't take good lessons. But she taught us what's the right
action in you.
Yeah, right? What's the right jacket size for your body? What's the right purse for your body? So we have educational events about 3 or 4 times a year. So if you want to be invited to that, make sure.
I've been to one of those.
Have you?
Yeah, how to dress.
Yeah.
For success. And it was really amazing, and it's been a while since I've been to one, but it's the color that you come in, it's the shoes that you wear, it's how you have your hair and your jewelry, it's not the way.
Brigitta looks like somebody taught her how to do that, right?
I just have the European gene.
So then I can blame it on where I was born.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
No fashion sense because I was born in the United States. You were born in the United
So
States.
was I.
And you have a lot of fashion sense, so I can't use that
German
excuse.
heritage though.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. See, I knew I liked her from there. Like you're nurturer.
I am a total nurturer.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry?
Yeah.
Is it true
Okay.
that nurturers are usually the best dressed in the room? Because
No.
Terry is a nurturer, and she's always the best dressed in the room.
No, nurturers like to dress comfortable, usually. Which doesn't have to be negative or positive, but nurturers like to be comfortable in their beings. Yeah.
I think the knowledgeable might be the best dressed.
You said
I
action
actually
is
pay attention to how to dress.
Action is very good. So if you see someone walk in with a Gucci belt, you already know their action. Because no blueprint, no knowledge, and no nurturer would wear a Gucci belt. Right? Yeah.
So you own 2 of them, right? She's talking about
Me?
you.
No.
Not yet.
No, but I know people that do. I was thinking of the people that I know that do have Gucci belts, many
Think
of those
of-
wear them and are very like label conscious and.
Think of network marketing. How many of you have ever been in network marketing? And you know, the high actions are usually the ones that really make the money in network marketing. But then they bring all of these nurturers in, and they make like $500 a year. Because they want to make a difference rather than $1. That's what drives them to make a difference, and not necessarily money. Because in their head they have this mind chatter of money is evil. You know, I'm not after the money. I'm after doing good in the world. Yes, that's great. And Zig Ziglar said, you know, help others do good so it can come back to you. It's really so when you talk to a nurturer and they have this money averse kind of behavior, you want to talk to them about, you know, it's all about making a difference and making $1. So, you know, knowing some of this stuff is going to make a
So
big
help me with
difference.
this, Brigitta. If there are a bunch of nurturers in the room,
Yeah.
and I want to encourage the nurturers to tell other people about working for Edward Jones,
Yes.
I should say something like, you might want to know the facts that Edward Jones just this month has been named the #5 company to work for by Fortune magazine.
No.
Don't
That
say
would be a knowledge.
That want to help
You
someone.
should be telling them about the
That would-
backup we received when we had the
Oh, the
hurricane.
training. Tell them about the training and the hurricane support.
The hurricane support. There you go. The charity.
The difference that you're going to make in people's lives.
That
Yeah.
too.
That's what you're talking
Yeah. What you just said speaks to a
about. And that
knowledge.
they can also then make money doing it.
The chills just went
Other
up.
than
Yeah. No, and I would, in the
People's lives
beginning,
by
I
helping
wouldn't
them.
even talk about the money. I would talk about the difference that you make with the charity. That you got to nurture like that.
And the relationships that they'll have to with you.
Right.
The fact that they're really open to their lives.
Contribute.
You have a
Contribution
story
relationship.
about somebody that.
All right, quick story. Before everyone leaves, can I tell a story?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
They cried when they went. They
Okay,
went through their-
if you don't cry when this, like, I don't even
Uh-oh.
know. Okay, so quick story then, and then I promise you can go. Get your tissues. You're gonna get your tissues ready. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So-
Nice meeting you. I'll stay in touch.
So I was just in a room full of Edward Jones financial advisors, and the way that they did introductions, they went around the room, they asked people to tell us one story about a client that you helped. And that's how we did introductions. And so here's my story. One of my most favorite stories is a client, had been a client since 2004. And at 60 years old, 2 years ago, got cancer and was dying. And he's married, and he has a daughter and a son and a grandson. And he's in hospice, and I'm in regular communication with his wife. And his wife called me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and said, the hospice nurse said that something is keeping him here, like he should have already died. Something's keeping him here, and she asked me like if it could be a money thing. Is he worried about me and money? And I told her I didn't know, but that I would call you. And I said, I'll be right there. And I hung up the phone, and I got in my car, and I drove to hospice, and I went and sat by his bed, and I held his hand. Now I won't even tell you what he looked like, but like, I don't know that he could hear me or understand or whatever, but I held his hand, and I said, Tom, your wife and your kids and your grandson are completely taken care of. They will be taken very good care of. You have done really well for them, and I'm going to take really good care of them. And he died that night.
Wow.
And she called me the next morning to tell me, thank you for going to give him peace about our financial situation. And her daughter, who I didn't know very well, drove to my office that morning with her boyfriend and ran in just to give me a hug because I helped her dad, right? So it's the difference like that that we get to make in people's lives.
When you
That's your
talk-
story.
Yeah. So, and that's great. And thank you for sharing that. So when you talk to a nurturer, when you know that that's a nurturer, that's the kind of stories that you want to tell. And have other stories. Like I told some stories about blueprints. Have stories about blueprints, and you don't have to call them blueprints or nurturers, but have them in the back of your mind that okay, I'm talking to a knowledge now. I can pull this knowledge story, right? I can pull this nurture story and really, because when you tell it's one thing, but when you tell a story, when you tell the facts, it's one thing, but when you tell a story, that's really when people belong, and everyone wants to belong.
Right.
Even
Thank
the
you.
knowledge.
Thank you guys. We gotta let him go.
Story sells. Story sells.
Yeah. That sells for yourself. That's it.
When you're older, there was some yes. When you're older, you wow. Yes, Carly. I mean, you're literally yes. Yes. I mean, it's a full, and you don't want to leave, you go in the bathroom. Yeah, and then he made us walk barefooted. This was an art, this was I was so, and my friends had to catch me on the other, they have to catch you because you're so. Have you done that? Oh yeah. Isn't it amazing? And then I climb the 60-foot pole and jump off. So you know where I'm at. Yeah. She asked me why. That's okay. So tall. That's right. Yeah. They're probably like. Oh, I love that. Which one is that? Oh, okay. But I'll tell you, what you got? My daughter was fortunate. She did one with someone else. Well, they split people up. And then what I like is my sister does not see you with her husband. They need to be split because totally different. It's a beautiful transition. I see it. Well, I'm German. I'm not a Hesher. I did my DNA. Well, my 57% Scandinavian. Was an attorney. And then I knew that my dad was full-blooded German and my mother is. I can connect you with different attorneys. He used to be an author. When everybody gets spell it, so that's okay. That's why I give it nobody's going to be. They're always with a PH. Yeah. I mean, that's okay. I haven't actually. Yeah. I'm blaming it on. I said, now we got to go to Ireland and figure out what they're going to do. Oh my God. Oh, can't get back. But I can go back to my history on my mom's side. I found somebody with a computer there. But anyway, and now I got to find out who can.
Yes, good to meet you.
Go in Ireland.
Was that fun? Yeah. Where's the other one?
Very good, I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
I'm a member of the Legal
Wait, I come now.
my
It's
directions.
why it took me so long at the ATM.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Let me know when.
You've covered me enough. I'm like that one girl. You keep waiting and around. See, I told her 3 times. No, you just lost me. I'm on my time is very long. I go to a doctor's appointment. I'm sitting there. to me about your
It is,
whatever.
so-